In August 2023, a hurricane downed power lines in Maui, Hawaii, and started a fire. The state government allowed this to happen to destroy the town and murder as many low-income citizens as possible because it was cheaper than buying them out. Hawaii politicians have a 100-year history of this. The state government's documents echo Agenda 2030 guidelines. Current situation. State wants to dump thousands of tons of burnt ruins containing lead, arsenic and worse directly on an aquifer. The dump was supposed to have a protective wall built which never was, and even then would still be unable to keep forever chemicals out of the aquifer. Governor has started program to give $1 MIL payout to victims who meet certain criteria with caveat that they can't sue the state if facts are established. Maui Gov. Departments are refusing to give info to State Attorney General's investigation. Power just partially restored in November. DHS set up military roadblocks around Maui at random locations, police assaulting anyone who avoids them. Survivors are homeless without prospect of any jobs in area. Small private citizen supply cash/distribution tents but no state or federal help. FEMA stopped hotel assistance October. 1. Making people homeless without possibility of finding work. Maui landlords excluded from price gouging laws and raised prices exponentially specifically due to the massive sudden raise in people desperate to find housing. FBI claiming death toll 85. Census data not wiped by the Gov says over 2,500 unaccounted for under 18, unknown number over 18. Citizens estimate possibly 1,000 dead adults, 2,500 kids from those that disappeared from families and neighbors. Corpses missed by search dogs are being discovered because intense heat cremated bodies making them undetectable to the dogs. Last reported were infant and child skeletons. Child laying on dog to protect it? All responsible parties either still in government jobs or allowed to retire with pensions. Not a single arrest. From recent meetings between civil government and citizens and survivor testimony. People trapped jumped into the ocean because they were catching fire standing in the road. Maui Rep. Testifies to seeing 10 people in a single house dead as part of questioning of death toll official hashtag. Locals questioning why underground tunnels were not used as evac routes out of the fire, but kept closed. State is trying to keep the tunnel's existence secret, as well as the new fiber optic and electric lines in them that connect to unknown sources. Josh Green made emergency proclamation to change zoning to allow building energy efficient city after outcry when smart city plans revealed and shut down. Water being withheld from residents for equity and Hawaiian cultural practices is testified to be illegally sent to mansions and hotels. 8 operations to help the displaced testify about being infiltrated by DHS and U.S. Air Force intel undercover ops. For more info. YouTube, Hawaii Real Estate. Twitter, Nick Sorter, James O'Keefe, Jeff Cygnus. This isn't the first time a massive fire destroyed acres of occupied land Oprah was trying to purchase. Citizens report the government shut the gas stations down for days after the fire was out with no explanation. Head of FEMA got to the island a day before the fires. So did Westboro Baptist, claiming that God was going to destroy Maui. The piece of shit, Kaleo Manuel, that refused to supply water to fire hydrants to save lives got reinstalled to his old job. In court testimony, contradicting the original story that the water could not be released for firefighting or it would be racist and deprive the farms, the water usage for fighting multiple massive fires on the island during the event showed about 37k gallons used total out of 7 million gal available per day. They didn't have to reroute any water from aquifers, they didn't turn on the fire hydrants. They had no real explanation why critical emergency infrastructure was shut off in the first place or how the local cultural practitioner would have the authority to make any decisions about its operations or if US citizens are to be saved or let die so Hawaiian potatoes wouldn't get dry for a day. Possibly 3K dead on Maui because BlackRock Vanguard, who are also HECO's main shareholders, wanted a literal WEF smart city on the land of low-income locals without political connections to force investigation into the deaths. Whoever controls Biden did this. I am in Hawaii. I have been watching the situation since 0 hour. I saw Fox News put a little about the situation in one cycle of a broadcast, then silence, so I started data analysis and collation from media, records, and witnesses. I compare what actual locals on the ground are saying and recording and how it compares to media reports. Within hours of the fire, after I started telling people what was going on from local reports, I was wrongfully CP banned here on all the typical IPs here I usually post from, and had to sneak around to post until a week later when most IPs were cleared. On the morning of the fire, I had an old white guy hanging out in front of my house, which is in a rural, empty cul-de-sac. My security cameras only on the side of the house this guy was on were hacked to stop them recording. Now there is a state rep who survived the fire testifying. For the best info, look at James O'Keefe and Nick Sorter on X. There are shitty YouTube videos about the Maui fire that look like goy slop but have a lot of accurate info in them. Look at YouTube also, because survivors are getting video stories out. Try to stick to the videos by locals. Do not donate to just anyone, because locals are reporting that all they are seeing is used clothes and barely anything else. Where is the money going? The only good source to donate to now is vulnerablepeopleproject.com or cash to someone you know personally. I am not affiliated with them. I don't see a dime from anyone. Quick rundown. HECO lines blew down and started a fire. Emergency services said the fire was out and took crews away at 10 a.m. The still burning fire hit the town at about 3 p.m. They refused to sound sirens. They lied and said the power was cut. Then when it was exposed that the sirens are on solar, they said it would have made people think there was a tidal wave and run into and stand in the fire. Water for the hydrants was shut off without explanation the day before. Water Department refused to turn the water on because it would be racist to stop watering the potato farms for a few hours. It is now testified that the water is being diverted mostly to mansions and hotels in the first place. Kids were sent home from school that day because of the hurricane. Tourists were immediately evacuated from the area by buses, but locals were not alerted. Phone/internet was down without explanation for locals. Maui cops blocked evac routes and forced people into the fire, killing them. Locals that were able to get comms and called emergency SVCs during the fire were told jump into the ocean. Underground tunnels out of town W/8 feet. Ceilings kept locked and locals not allowed to use them as evac. Multiple military bases from every branch of U.S. Armed SVC, including spook agencies within 100 miles, and to this day, not one medevac, SAR, or supply flight/shipment ever went out. The only government craft doing SAR during the fire was a possible CBP boat that deployed from a secret mooring in the area. Possibly over 3,000 dead, with FBI helping the state cover it up. They shaved the death toll down to 100 or so. Aftermath. Water and power shut off after the fire to force survivors out of their undamaged homes. They shut down the gas stations even though the fire was out for days. Police and F.E.M. block almost all incoming aid and force stop all aid distributors. Owners of undamaged properties threatened with arrest if they leave for food/water/meds and try to return. Citizens use private choppers/boats/manpower to supply aid. Hot. Nat. Guard secretly takes command over disaster zone over mayor. Animal rescue ops forced out by Hot. Nat. Guard. Governor declares no media zone. Feds ask to stop reporting to public and somehow obey a state official. Cops stop and assault any photographers. FBI downs legal drones and interrogates pilots. Miles-long blackout fence around ruins. Police chief declared himself coroner and refuses to release body data. Survivors told to sleep in park or on benches downtown. Outcry led to FEMA finally putting people in hotels, which ended October 1. FEMA and feds staying in luxury resorts with pools, waterslides, and luau feasts. Biden gives survivors $700 if they filled out papers on time, gave HECO $91 million for repairs. Many survivors report no government aid whatsoever and being kept from their homes by police. DHS sets up random military roadblocks but claims no posse comitatus violation. Troops are claimed to be DHS agents with no IDs. State is trying to dump 400,000 tons of ash and rubble containing lead, arsenic and more directly on an aquifer. Dump above aquifer exposed to have needed a wall built to shield water supply from regular pollution years ago. Money's gone, no wall but it wouldn't be enough to stop the poison from the new debris. What are the odds? Same police chief in 2 mass casualty events with over 1,000 trapped victims of low-income red state demographics, penned in by cops and security. Lahaina wasn't Tampa, but look at the videos of their response to the Dementiafarers' visit. Second time Oprah has a massive fire push everyone out of the acres of land surrounding one of her properties, allowing her to purchase it dirt cheap. BlackRock Vanguard owned the company responsible for the fire and had plans to build a WEF smart city where the fire destroyed all the structures and displaced the survivors. The mathematical odds of even one part of this not being conspiracy is astronomical. State is trying to dump 400,000 tons of ash and rubble containing lead, arsenic and more directly on an aquifer. Dump above aquifer exposed to have needed a wall built to shield water supply from regular pollution years ago. Money's gone, no wall but it wouldn't be enough to stop the poison from the new debris. They seem to be polluting the water so only those with industrial grade filtration will be able to use the aquifers. There is also shady shit going on Oahu Island where there are suspicious chem/fuel spills they blame on the giant military underground fuel tanks, polluting the water supply causing areas to be declared uninhabitable. There were leaks saying the chems were dumped in other places that didn't involve the tanks. Oiling won't work against petroleum and heavy metals. They are afraid of colonies of displaced people, especially normal people, non-criminals, not addicted to drugs and not crazy who lost everything who refused to be institutionalized in the homeless industrial complex and forced into serfdom. The scam with Hawaii's homeless assistance programs is they try to force you to self-denounce and claim you are an addict or mentally ill if they can't force that designation on you. If you don't get assistance, kids get taken, you are treated like a criminal for being homeless and working instead of dependent and disenfranchised. It's a million times worse if you are or previously were a legal gun owner. Once in these programs you are given a handler/overseer as a counselor who will control every aspect of your life including which family members and friends you are allowed to contact, with your financial and housing assistance and child visitation pulled at any time for disobedience. They want to make it so you can't survive off-grid, especially when they can't eminent domain your place. They are going to try to push people out on multiple islands with threats of child seizure because of the claims of actual polluted water.
Like, share, subscribe and be sure to check the notification bell. Follow the Atomic Shaman on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Listen to Paranormal Green Text Stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube. Catch the live streams of Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge only on Rumble.